Well, good morning, everyone. We've made it to day 3. Woohoo! Alive and ready to go. So we've obviously talked a lot about personalization during our sessions. And so today we wanted to talk about how do we create partnerships with our vendors, with manufacturers, with home builders, so that we can actually deliver on that promise. So joining me today is my wonderful panel. First up is Melissa Morman. Melissa is a Chief Experience Officer with BDX. And you guys have been hearing a lot about Envision. So it's a BDX product, and we'll hear Melissa talk a little bit about that as well. Steve Herbert. Steve is Director of Global Business Development with Samsung. Gena Kirk. Gena is a VP of Studio Operations at KB Home. And Bret Jacob, who is the Director of Builder Services with Nortek Control. So I'd love for you to take a minute to introduce yourselves a little bit more and tell us what is it that you do, and maybe throw in a fun little fact about yourself. How did you get into the industry? Melissa, we'll start with you.
Oh, do we have like 10 minutes? 'Cause this is
we do. We have an hour.
Long story. Again, Chief Experience Officer at BDX, and we're an interesting little company. We were about 21 years old, and I was one of the founders, along with Tim Costello. Many of you know Tim, and we're owned by the industry, and we basically work on digital transformation for the industry, and that spans websites, virtual reality, online design centers. We run the content hub, a manufacturer content hub. So, we have a lot of these offerings and products. What we really do most of the time is we're meeting with builders, trying to help them untangle and understand what they need to prepare for and how to kind of embrace digital, and we work with the builders and manufacturers to make that happen. So anyway, that's my story.
Gena?
Great, Gena Kirk, Vice President of Design Studio for KB Home. My oversight is around the studio and the customer's experience, all things options, flooring. I spend quite a bit of time with my purchasing friends, making sure that we can pull through all of the information to improve, deliver the best customer experience to our buyers.
Hi, my name is Steve Herbert. I'm the Director of Global Business Development at Samsung SmartThings. And SmartThings is the connected living solution for all Samsung products. I manage both our single-family home builder market and our multifamily market. So happy to be here today. I've been doing this about 7 years now.
I'm Bret Jacob. I'm the Director of Builder Services for Nortek Control. We are a manufacturer of electronics, and we have many different categories, about a dozen different brands. It's my job as the Director of Builder Services to create builder programs that make it easier for builders to digest technology, which is probably the most confusing category of all for any builder. The smart home experiences is something that builders are always looking for guidance and help, and that's our job, is to listen to builders, address their pain points, and modify our program as we go along. So.
Great.
And I've been in this business since 1976.
Wow. What were you selling back in 1976?
Retail audio in Pocatello, Idaho.
A lot has changed, that's for sure.
A lot of changes, right?
So, Gena, you obviously work very closely with your customers to make sure they have great experience. So talk to us about the process of really, how do we start that personalization process? How do we know what to offer in the first place?
KB is based off of innovative design. That's the first piece. And then understanding personalization has been a journey for KB. It didn't just come. So we were, if you're at the beginning of that journey, we were there once too, and it's taken us many years to understand it. And we're a large company, so we really had to get an idea of what all of the customers were purchasing across the entire division, and that started by simplifying that list and kind of pulling it together. Using a lot of data to help us understand what the behavior of the customer is. And supplier collaboration also, and I spoke about that in the first session, really utilizing their market research, which really helps, they do tons of market research. So pairing that with our internal data, we were able to really simplify that list, and then that continues on an annual basis. We're always looking at our data and our trends, and we're also, part of the best thing is listening to the consultants that are actually in front of the customer. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. I'm tripping over my words, which is unlike me. So it's a combination, right? It's supplier data, it's our own internal frequency data, and I think that's key for a builder to be able to have their own data and to be able to use it. And I'm sure that Melissa will talk a little bit about, if you don't have it, how Envision has it, and you can utilize that.
So, Steve, when I was talking to you, I heard the word consultant. So, Gena, you touched on that already. How do you really serve as consultant when it comes to partnering with home builders?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, every builder is a little different. They build in a different area. They build a different type of home. So it can be difficult to determine, as a vendor, like what an individual home buyer for a particular builder is going to want. So we do, of course, rely on the builder to help us understand, their clients and what they're looking for. That being said, I think one of the difficulties is how do you pair what you understand as a builder about their needs into the smart home experience? Because the smart home market has been so confusing and so fragmented for so long that builders have really been stymied by how do I match, like what I'm trying to communicate to the buyer. Like maybe it's green building, maybe it's some other aspect, health and wellness. And how do I translate that into a smart home experience that elevates our brand further along those lines? And so what we do is we help pair them up with the right packages, the right design, based on what they tell us their customers are, and we try to work together as a partnership to develop the right packages.
Mm-hmm. So, Gena, since you guys are national, I can imagine that it's challenging to be able to figure out who the right suppliers are, so that the same types of services, the same types of products can be available to all of your different customers. So how do you go about that process?
For the most part, for big things, cabinets, countertops, and things that are kind of cross regional, and there's no regional differences, we have a product called the product merchandising. And it was something that we kind of born about 15 years ago. And it's a process where we take people from the business and we bring them together with our suppliers. We meet on an annual basis, and it's actually twice a year, depending because of all of the different categories. But we meet with suppliers to understand what their offerings are. Some of them that we are already doing business with, our current partners, and then new partners, to understand what is happening in the industry, especially in this particular category. It's difficult because it's changing constantly, and trying to keep up with it is a full-time job. And so understanding that and meeting with the suppliers, and each person represents a region. And again, we're a large builder. If you're a smaller builder, you may not need as many people or representing regions, but bringing people to the table with the right expertise. And then again, relying on some of the supplier research along with our own internal knowledge to be sure that we have the best materials that are healthy and build a comfortable home, along with being on trend. And that can be a hard thing too, because trends are constantly changing. And our purchasing departments have a hard time keeping up sometimes with our design studio staffs, but certainly you need to stay on trends. So just meeting with the suppliers and going through a process, and then for us, because we're trying to keep that list small so it can be managed in the field with our purchasing departments and for our customer, and that's how we kind of go about it.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that relationship with suppliers and manufacturers is really important.
Key.
And Melissa, I know you talk a lot about using materials that they have already developed for you as builder instead of reinventing that wheel. So can you take us through some of the marketing ideas?
Sure,
absolutely. How do we tell that story to our customers?
So, I think the challenge that we have, and so well articulated by, my folks here on the panel, we're not lacking for amazing products. We have amazing products, whether they're finishes or they're smart home technology. It's super amazing. And we're not lacking in demand, especially the last year or so, and the appetite for these amazing products. I think about what our big challenge is how do we cost effectively engage, inform, delight, and sell in a digital first environment, meeting customers where they are. And that's kind of a mouthful. But I think the challenge of constantly evolving technology is actually aided by the fact that we now can show content in a digital way, because it is a lot easier to update digital content than it is to rip stuff out of your physical design center. You know, and talking to Dennis last night, you know, we were asking him, like, you know, how often are you updating? And he says it's constant. It's constant. They're constantly updating. So the beauty of digital is you actually have that opportunity to refresh and refresh across the country, everywhere, in a digital way. So the challenge of how fast the world's moving is also the opportunity that we have to really, really knock it out of the park. And I will tell you, I mean, this pandemic has just been so gut-wrenching in many ways, business, personal, for all of us. But there was a little bit of a silver lining, because I will tell you, we've been talking about online options, and Gena and I have been together for way too long on panels and at conferences, and really KB helped us launch Envision. They were one of the first early adopters that actually helped design it, develop it, critique it, test it, bang on it, all that good stuff, many, many, many years ago, 16 years ago. So it's been around for a long time, but I will tell you, I would go meet with builders. I never had anybody say, yeah, I don't know. They always were like, oh, that's super sexy. That's really cool. We should do that someday. And I just knew right then, okay, yeah, well, someday is never. That's really code for never. And we're gonna have to do that. I will tell you the day that the bottom fell out and everybody was closed. Gena was super excited. She already had things digitally, so that was great. I got calls from so many builders saying, you know that thing you showed me? They couldn't even remember what it's called. They never can remember what it's called. But that thing, I really need that, and I need it. I should have done that. And I'm like, yes, you should have. So while I'm sorry the builders felt pain, it really accelerated. And basically, it forced us to put things online, which is where consumers were anyway. That's what they wanted, right? They've been begging us to do this for so long. And buyers were already there. So I used to show this slide back in 2018, and 41% of millennials made an offer on a home without seeing it, and the audience would just gasp, and they'd be like, where'd you get that data? What is that? Is that new or used, or what market, right? Because nobody wanted to really believe that. But fast forward, and obviously this was helped by pandemic effect as well, but now 63% of home buyers in 2020 made an offer sight unseen. They never actually physically saw the home. And for some of us, we go, I can't even imagine doing that. But for millennials, they don't really know what good construction is or what that's like. So they don't feel that same need. Now, we do want them to come see us physically. We want them to come to our model homes. We want them to come to our communities. We absolutely want and need them to come to our design centers, but we have to earn that privilege, right? We have to be what we call visit worthy, because if we're not visit worthy, why show up? You may not even make it on the short list. And it used to be we'd compartmentalize options and design into that kind of post-contract phase, right? Very much about you've signed a contract, now let's get you to your design center appointment, let's get you prepared, let's give you all the tools you need. Now, it's gotta happen way before. They're actually not gonna buy the house, or they are less likely to buy the house if they can't see what's in it. And it's really important. That's where they're gonna live. That's why Gena's job is so important, that design and the lifestyle. But if they can't kind of see and experience that in some form or fashion, they may not actually get to close with you or actually sign a contract with you because they just couldn't grapple with it. And it's tough because our biggest competition is used homes, and you can see what you get with a used home. You can see 2-car garage, 3-car garage. You can see little kitchen, big kitchen, outdated, not outdated, but at least you know what you have. With all of the choices that we have, and the beauty of new homes is choice. It's the products and the selections and personalization. But if I can't get my head around it and grapple with it, sometimes I'll just default to use, because at least I can kind of I just know what that is. And we know that's a really bad thing for customers to let them do that. So our focus needs to be killer engaging content, offered at every touch point, from the moment I start dreaming and thinking I want to move all the way through, to closing and living my home. We've got to have amazing, amazing content, and it has to be online and physical. And oh, by the way, you can't do an amazing job digitally and then they show up and it's a really like non-digital physical experience, or vice versa. If you're not very sexy online, one, they may not even show up, but then you're super sexy and digital in the physical experience. It's too confusing. It's a brand erosion experience. So you've got to be online and physical retail, and you've got to have amazing content the whole step of the way. And as I kind of mentioned before, you have to earn them the right. You have to sell them on actually coming to see you, whether it's pre-sales or in the contracting design process. You've got to earn that right. People are super busy. They're very selective. So we've got to be able to make it worthy of them coming to see. So it's very much now, I have not been on any dating sites because I've been married forever, but I've heard swipe right? I think that's the, like, you're interested, right? Is it swipe right? Well, look, nobody's getting, like, no, we're not on dating sites, Melissa. But it really is about, you want them to, they're scanning, they're looking, and you want them to swipe right. You want them to go to that next step where we actually have a date and we get together. And even the simplest content tells a story. So I'm gonna just show you some different examples. This has like been around forever, but it's amazingly effective. It's just a simple cutaway. You can pop little videos in it. You can pop in descriptions. The manufacturers can embed their content. So imagine a cutaway house that tells the story, Bret, of your amazing products and where they are and where they fit, right? And we're gonna kind of up our game here in a minute, but this is super simple. So sometimes we get so caught up in doing the super sexy VR tours, and you should do those are amazing. Don't forget some of the simple content as well. And then as we up our game, everybody has Matterports now. They're amazing, and if you've built the house, if you haven't built it, you can't quite do this, but if you've built it, but it's an amazing opportunity to embed content. So as I'm walking through the house and I'm clicking on different little buttons and icons, it can pop up. It can play a video, right? It can play a message from the manufacturer. It can have any content in there that you want. And from a manufacturer perspective, what you're trying to do is be there at every touch point, right? And you actually physically can't be at every builder design center. You probably can't even be at just KB's design centers every day at every appointment, but you can create amazing content and embed it and that helps the builders, because a lot of times, yes, it's the floor plan that I'm buying, it may be the community, but it's the products, right? It's the products that go in the home that really make this super special. So, embedding content where builders already have this amazing content is really effective. This is a virtual reality tour. Just pretend like we're walking through it. I just did a video capture. But this is basically explaining how, this kind of boring room in the daytime, or it's not boring, but, pedestrian room in the daytime, how it can change into the media room at night, right? And sometimes we're so intent on selling the widgets, the things, the SKUs, the boxes. I don't care about that as a consumer. I really don't care how it works. Like, it bore me to tears. This I care about. Show me how my life is going to be different if I buy this package or if I buy this set of products, and just tell me this is the experience that I'm gonna get. So it's about being really good storytellers, and it's about the content both from the builders and the product manufacturers and integrators coming together. Because from a consumer perspective, I don't care that maybe Nortek has this piece or Samsung has this piece, or this is a builder option. I don't care. Just show me the amazing life that I'm gonna have with my new home. And you wanna be there at the point of sale. And the point of sale is happening so much sooner these days. As we mentioned, 63% didn't actually physically go see the property. So I'm actually getting to that point of sale all by myself. And you have to think about, do you really want them to do that unaided and without amazing content? So they're gonna go explore, give them amazing content, be there. So in this one, we clicked up and you can see a video that comes from GE on that particular product, right? So as I'm going through this house and I'm looking at the different options, immerse me with this amazing content, and I will upgrade. I will spend more money, especially for that VR room. So you, as a manufacturer, want to be there at that point of sale, and it's got to be affordable, obviously, and you can't fly all over the country. So Envision, Gena mentioned Envision. It's been around for 16 years, and I almost think it was a little before its time. Do you think a little bit? We were all excited and we wanted to do it, but builder systems weren't quite there, and I don't know if we were in enough pain. Yeah, it can be a little bit unwieldy, but fast forward to today and today's technologies, one, we just have to do it because consumers are coming at us with pitchforks if we don't let them design their homes online. And you don't necessarily want them to do it completely unaided. It's not like you want them to come in, click, 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 done, submit my order. You want some consultant, and they want to touch and feel, and they want confidence and assurance, but they come in predisposed, a little less like they're going to be sold and pitched, more like I've already designed my home, I just have some questions, I need a little assistance, and then the designer can make sure, okay, maybe they put some things together that they're not going to be happy with, right? And make sure that they end up with a home that they really love. So it's been around for a very long time, and part of it is the amazing buyer portal that you give, but probably the biggest piece of this is that every night, about 400 product manufacturers are pumping in fresh content every night to us via XML file feeds. So GE, Kohler, Samsung, Whirlpool, Honeywell, all of these products are being refreshed every day, and it automatically flows through. So from a buyer perspective, you're getting the latest, greatest content. From a builder perspective, you get notice if something's going to go obsolete at some point in time, which is super handy. So it's powered by this amazing content, and that's something that any builder in the country can take advantage of because, from a manufacturer perspective, they just make sure their content's up to date in one place, right? And then the builders can partake of that, and it gets in front of all the consumers. And you think about from a manufacturer perspective, you spend so much money on your brand, your products, telling the story, but if you're not actually putting it anywhere, it's like when the tree in the forest falls and nobody sees it, like, did it happen? What was the point, right? So you've got to get it out there and get accessible at that moment, at that point of sale moment. So these are just some examples of builders, how they have utilized Envision. Akel is really a fascinating up-and-coming builder. Great guy, and then you've got Woodside Homes is using it, and every builder uses it a little bit differently. It's their brand, it's their process. Yes?
Sorry to jump in. So I've talked to a lot of custom home builders, smaller guys that are like, is this for me? Can I implement this technology?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, the technology has evolved so much that it maybe 5-10 years ago might have been a little bit more difficult, but in today's environment. And for custom builders, they might implement it a little bit differently, right? They may be a little bit more flexible on, okay, you can have the Italian tile from Italy if that's really what you want. You may be a little bit more flexible, so you might utilize it, if you don't constrain options and choice, you might utilize it a little bit more like gallery and inspirational, right? So they can either see the homes that you've built or the homes that you could build, and you may have agreements with Bret down here, and you do put different packages for a smart home into your offering. So regardless of what home they might pick, you do want to educate them on, hey, here's some of the smart home packages that I, as a custom builder, always put in. So it's absolutely, you just might use it a little bit differently as a custom builder. And then MI Homes, and I will tell you, it's incredibly deep, rich data, and we watch what consumers actually go in. They go in, they look at every video, they read the warranty use and care docs, which I'm like, really? Who reads that? But they really care about that, right? Because this is their home. This is what they're looking to live in, and they do want to see every little detail. So every scrap of content that is embedded in here, they just eat it up. So it's super important. And then in kind of the last year or so, what we did was we glued on virtual reality and visualizers because Envision by itself, if you just give a customer their own design portal, on average, builders get about a 30% option upgrade. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of high margin revenue that's coming in. But now we've layered on virtual reality and visualizers so they can come in and they can design that way. So as opposed to kind of going down the pick list, they actually can come in, they can select their options, and it automatically goes into their wish list. And it's powered by that same manufacturer content. So again, they can drill down. They can see it visually and they can design their home, but then they can go study the products. So it's really meeting where customers are. If you think about it, I can design tennis shoes online, right? Like, I mean, incredible detail. I can design little beads if you're into like, jewelry making and things like that. So why can't I design my house? And let me play and let me ideate. And you, of course, can have different wish lists, right? So you can have, the husband's wish list or, the wife's wish list. I don't even know why we let him do that. I think it makes him feel important, like he has a say, but as we know, but you can have multiple partners, you can have multiple family members, kids get super involved, right? Because they also are looking forward to their new home. So now we've layered that on, which really I think is exciting for consumers. And then kind of the last piece is when you think about it, and every year when I'm out speaking at conferences, it's like, people are taking notes and they're trying to get caught up and they're like, okay, I didn't do what you told me to do last year and now you got something new. I'm like, well, welcome to the digital age, right? It does not slow down. So now what builders are doing is stitching together all that content, because we've had interactive site plans forever. We've had interactive floor plans. We have visualizers and VR tours. We have Envision to pick your options. But today, or formerly in builders' websites, they were kind of slivers of content. So as a user, I could come in and play with the interactive site plan, and then I could go play with the IFP, but they didn't connect. Now what we've done is connected them together so that it's a curated buyer experience. And so I can come in and I can pick the lot, I can pick the floor plan, I can look at the options and design them, I can play with the visualizers. And it's basically getting me closer to sale, which every builder wants. A builder doesn't want 100 leads. He just wants the 10 leads that are going to close. Like, let's be really, clear about that. So this is allowing the consumer to get that much closer to sale. And what happens for the consumer? They get kind of their tear sheet. This is my house. This is the lot I want. This is the plan I want. These are the options I want. This is, how I've designed it and configured my kitchen. And that's kind of my brochure for my house. Now, some builders show pricing in this stage, some don't. If you show pricing, I even know how much this thing is gonna cost, and I'm pretty far along down the road. And so what the builder then gets is an amazingly high qualified lead. I've gone to all of this trouble. I've designed my house. I know this is what I want, and these leads really, really convert. So, again, the technology and digital, and it's a combination of what's possible with technology, right? That's evolving, which is exciting, but it's also consumer demand. And you think about how we all shopped 10 years ago versus how we shop today, it's a really different experience. And our expectations are that website better be up, it better have exactly what I want, I better be able to chatbot with you, if I have a question, you better be there for me, or I'm gone, right? That's just who we are as consumers and as shoppers. So we can't pretend like our buyers are any different when they're engaging with us. So the other thing, I mentioned, and this is so important, and KB does this amazingly well. And obviously, if you were at Fulton last night or you were at Shea, the night before, you've got to be visit worthy. So you've got to tell that story of why even come to see me. Like, how amazing is this process going to be? What does the design center look like? So again, you've kind of got to sell that process, which is so important, because otherwise they don't even know that it's that amazing. But you've got to kind of entice them to show up. And I love, I just threw this in there, it's super cute. Smith Douglas, actually, they're opening so many communities that they decided instead of the normal sales trailer, they've got this tiny home on wheels. So they just move it around to different communities, super cute. But they have a lot of, it's gotten a lot of social media, oomph out there, and it's something people might want to come out and see. It's a little bit different, right? A little bit unique. So you definitely want to be visit worthy. And then when they show up, let's say you nailed the digital experience online, it can't fall apart when they get into the physical design center or the sales center. So now today you can have life-size displays. So imagine a kitchen visualizer on a life-size display, and you're standing in front of your kitchen and the cabinets are like exactly where they would fall on your body, and that's really amazing. That's worth coming out to the design center for. So think about some of the digital displays and ways that you convey that message. That digital brand needs to follow through to the physical experience. And then kiosks are really important. This is for model homes, sales centers, design centers. People want to be able to self-serve, and it's really important to allow them to do that. And then as you engage with them in the sales process, that's your tool. That's where you're pulling up the plans, the options, the VR, visualizers, all of that good stuff. So I'm gonna just play a little video of what a kiosk can be.
Consider the power of a simple touch. We use touch to express love. We use touch to open doors or call an old friend. Touch is comforting. It's familiar. What if you could use the power of touch to open up a new world for your customers? Take them on a journey. Tell them the story of your community. Let them explore the surrounding area. Use Google Maps to drop in and look around. Let your community shine with the latest in tour and graphic technology. Let them share, compare, spin, and interact with the unique multi-touch interface. Search by model or floor plan. See elevations. Set favorites, all with the touch of a finger. And when the journey is complete, send it directly to their inbox. The SalesMax kiosk from BDX, using the power of touch to change the future of new home sales.
So again, you want that digital experience, and you want to give your employees digital tools as well, because they live in the digital age, right? So don't have them stuck on Excel spreadsheets or binders or papers. Give them amazing tools that help them sell either the home or the options, depending on where you're at in the process. And again, because of technology evolving, these things are not expensive. But this replaces the ancient, topo table, right? This is your topo table, but it's your topo table with everything in it. And as things, you change products or you sell out lots or whatever, you can automatically update that. So this is kind of the new digital retail experience. And I think most of you in here are builders, and I've got a couple of product manufacturers here with me on the stage. These guys are willing to help fund this. So when you think about the embedded content in the Matterport, we have many builders who almost have their Matterports paid for because they'll work with their product manufacturers to embed that content. And from the product manufacturer perspective, the exciting part is that's more exposure for them. Because one, that person might buy your house and they may then select your product. They may actually go buy a used home, right? Most people actually do buy a used home. And so they actually want that product marketing to any consumer who's in the home buying market. And I know you guys love new homes and you want new homes to win, but if you sold these products in your retail channel, that'd be okay too. Like, it'd be okay if they did buy a used home and then they decided that they're gonna retrofit and they knew those amazing products, but they saw them because they were embedded. So VR tours, we're starting to have manufacturers embed content and help offset some of the costs, and Matterport tours, and your manufacturers are more than happy, to do that. And because they want to collaborate. They have this amazing story to tell, and they just need to be out there where consumers are. So it's just really good food for thought. And then there's hosted tours. So again, we think of virtual reality, and a lot of times we think, the headset on your head. Most people don't actually use the headset. The most common, especially in COVID, right? Or if you worry about your hair and makeup and all that good stuff. But in the sales center, when they come in, give them a beverage, they sit on the couch, you walk them through that home and help them, walk through and see the potential, see the possibilities. They may want to strap on a VR headset at the end, right? Yep, that's fine. But to sit there for an hour and try to design your home with this thing on your head is really not the best use case, but amazingly effective consumers doing it by themselves or in a hosted environment. But this again gives them a reason to come in. What if you have a gallery? What if you have a beautiful place that's almost kind of like a media room where they can come in and explore and they're super comfortable? And this would be a great place to embed some of those smart home products and show that lifestyle that you can really experience. And then, and Gena's right, I'm going to mention this. It's really important, as Gena mentioned, that you're constantly looking at what's working, what's not, looking at the research, what's the take rate. Do you offer 100 of these, but only 10 of them ever get selected? Maybe you don't need the other 90, right? Or maybe those 90 are not the right ones. And it's also about optimizing margin and yield and take rate, right? So what you may find is when you charge $100 more for this option, maybe you'll sell less, but your overall yield will be more, right? Because you've just upped it. So you're constantly trying to optimize that, but it's complicated, right? When you think about how many homes, how many markets, how many products, that is really a lot. So you need the intelligence to really ferret through that.
Otherwise, you're going to confuse the customer, right? Yes. Which then they're lost anyways. And at the end of the day, sometimes, less is more.
Right.
Even in this environment.
Yes, yes. So we're starting to provide reports and insights and analytics for both the builders, but even more importantly for the manufacturers, because they a lot of times feel like it's kind of, the builder channel is kind of a black hole. Like, what's going on out there, right? Did you even pitch my product? What was the response? Like, is it priced right? Because they don't get to control the pricing. So they're always kind of like, let me in, let me in, let me in. But it's challenging, right? So we're starting to generate insights for them as well, so that they can help coach the builders. They can help, and they can marry that with the research and insights they have from the retail channel in with what they know of the builder channel. So we can all, by working together, we can be so much smarter. And Gena didn't mention this, but they have an amazing collaborative conference, supplier conference, that they host every year. And it's it's an amazing experience, and they treat their suppliers like partners, right? They're their guests, and they share the strategy, and they're looking for insights and strategy. So it's the perfect example of how to engage with your manufacturer partners and integrators and product providers. Because working together, we can just all get that much smarter. So just some key takeaways for you all. The new home experience is online, it is digital, whether it's by accident or intent. So people are having a digital experience with you. It's just a matter of, was it what you hoped for and planned, or is it just kind of what somebody slapped up there on the website? So you've got to really kind of think about it from, are you going to earn the right to get them to come in and engage with you? Because that's really the goal. So.
Melissa, one of the things, if you don't mind, that you didn't mention, I think it's important, is these online tools absolutely help sell houses. She shared 30%, right? I know KB, I'm getting a 25.6% lead generation to sale. It does help with the design studio process, right? It puts the customer back in control. They understand what they want. For those construction guys out there, it also helps with change orders, because just buyers are more confident in their buying decisions. But the other thing, it helps in the field when we're building the house, because I'm not sure how many superintendents know what that Oslo, light fixture looks like. It helps them build the home and build it right? But also the post-close. So it literally follows the entire customer journey. Post-close is so rich, and we're actually just starting to realize that now. We've had Envision implemented in an integrated way for about 3 years. And we're starting to see now that our customer service departments, now that refrigerator is no longer available on the website, right? They're using it to help service the home, and so is the customer. So it really, this digital experience really just follows the entire customer journey, and every department in our company is starting to realize the richness of the tool that we thought was just going to help us through the design studio process.
Well, you are in charge of design centers, so selfishly, that's where Gena started. But she is right. And somebody else here at the conference made a comment about just the number of calls that they get. I can't remember how many how many calls they were. People just saying, what was the paint chip color?
Yeah.
What's the refrigerator model of my home? And
get my
all these service calls, and they're calling from Home Depot or calling from wherever they might be. So it's amazing, you know, Gena's really right. When I move into the home, I want those use and care documents, and I want to be able to, you know, manage my home. And I agree. I think we have a really untapped opportunity there. That'll give us something to work on next year, because we have nothing.
Because we have nothing.
We have nothing, nothing going on.
Yes, having that digital copy of your existing home, and again, the opportunity for builders to come in and know that, hey, your refrigerator is probably going to go soon, right? So maybe I can be the provider of that new refrigerator and your roof or whatever that may be, again, capitalizing on the lifetime value of the customer. And I think, again, it's absolutely a sales tool, right? Mm-hmm. For a lot of custom builders that I've spoken to, they say, well, you know, it's all word of mouth. That's how I get my business. And that's great, but imagine if you could get more business from something like this, then you can actually charge higher price for what you do, because you're more in demand. And this is exactly what customers are looking for.
Yes.
So we're going to continue talking about that transition from the digital world to now the physical world. So when they're coming into your model home, some of the things that suppliers are helping home builders with is, for example, creating digital brochures or physical brochures. So Steve, can you talk to us a little bit about that service that you offer to your builders?
Yeah, I mean, I think informing the customer, right, along the same lines as what Melissa was talking about, super important, really helping them understand what you're offering. We provide consumer brochures for both on the appliance side and the smart home side as just a free digital file that you can print out and have in your sales offices or however you want to use it. And then we also provide a customizable template in a format that, you know, your marketing team and your designers, your literature designers can use and can customize, can put their own logo on it, can put their own picture, lifestyle pictures of their homes, can move the template around. And so what we just use it as like a starting point to help the marketing team sort of accelerate their efforts to launch a brand new you know, connected living experience in their homes. So it's very helpful in that way.
And Bret, I know you guys do the same thing as well. You offer brochures to your customers.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a while. We have for our integrators who install our products professionally, we have the same tool where they can build lifestyle brochures for their customers or for their own businesses. But we do a brochure typically for every builder who is on our program. And they find a lot of value in it. And number one, it's a calling card for somebody, excuse me, who might be considering them as a builder against another builder. And we get comments from builders all the time that say, you know, that was the turning point because your brochure told me that you had a technology story that was compelling enough to make me buy your home over another builder. But it also tells, because again, this is the most confusing category you'll probably deal with, is simplifying. Our challenge has been how do we simplify something that's very, very technical? And we think we've done that in a pretty good way. We continue to evolve in bringing lifestyle imagery, lifestyle stories, and focusing less and less on the product. You don't see many pictures of the product in our brochures that we create for builders.
Mm-hmm. And what about going beyond brochures? I know you've talked about creating press releases, signage, design center displays.
Yeah, and a builder marketing toolkit as well. Yeah, there's an entire suite of marketing tools that we provide to our builders who are on our programs. It includes the brochure, digital as well as print. We give them all the digital assets that they need for each of our packages. We consult with them on how to do marketing campaigns and have themes to those campaigns. So this might be Peace of Mind Week. Next week might be Music Under the Stars Week, focusing on that particular lifestyle element and helping them create marketing campaigns using our assets that we provide to them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And talk to me about the training process, because I know you do spend a lot of time training, and you know you usually do it in a fun, happy hour way.
And that's what we try to do. We try to meet in the model or the design center where our product is installed, and we host it, and we like to call it a happy hour training. So bring your iPads, bring your iPhones. Everybody who is customer facing, we invite to that event, and we just, again, talk about the lifestyle story. So if you can tell the story about this package and then translate that to how you do it on the phone or the iPad, then you're a salesman of technology. And I think it's so fun to watch people who are so afraid of technology. They're the ones who call me later and say, I just nailed it. It was so great. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
And I forget, it was Steve or Bret who told me the story about real estate agents showing their clients how to use some of this technology remotely, so they're not even sitting in the office. Who was that?
Yeah, that's something we hear quite a bit too, because of the connected capabilities of smart home. You don't have to be physically in the model home to demonstrate its capabilities. So we've had many real estate agents say, I'll sit down with a potential buyer at a Starbucks because I can't get them to the model, because nobody wants to go to a model sometimes. And then they can log in and show them, hey, here are our cameras, here's the thermostat control, this is how easy it is to use remotely, and that's helped them sell homes as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So let's talk about working with your integrators. So this is specific to smart home technology, or again, whatever you want to call it, but I think
Right.
That is the topic that's confusing for both the buyers and builders equally.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we create that partnership between the suppliers and integrators so that it works?
Well, our products are designed to be professionally installed. So we have integrators all around the country. We have a network of nearly 5,000 across this country who install our products, and they're very skilled at deploying, installing, programming, and making their customers happy. They're not very good at marketing, and they're not really great at storytelling because they're technical people. So that's where we are always having these conversations. No, you don't want, in the technical world, you don't want a good, better, best. You want a lifestyle package, because the good, better, best, there are many elements that make that unattractive. Maybe somebody can't aspire to the best, number one, right? Or number two, it just doesn't, these lifestyle stories are the things that resonate in their lives that they feel that they can impact them. And so if some people are more about peace of mind and security, some people are more about entertainment. If you provide a broad selection of lifestyle packages that are options, then they'll choose those that best suit their lifestyle.
Yeah. And Steve, I know that you guys also provide the equipment to the model home for free and really spend time teaching the salespeople how to demonstrate that, so that when somebody is visiting the physical model home, they can firsthand experience some of this tech in home, and so they walk out feeling excited about it. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things I've learned over the years in this business is that smart home is an opportunity to create like a real wow moment for people. I know when I first got into this business, I thought, oh, what is the point of having, an app for my light switch or whatever? Back then it was like really, really simple, and it was about convenience. And now, smart home is so much more useful and so much more pervasive in the home, right? You can touch almost every aspect of the home. And so, I think the experience itself is super important to creating that bond, or that emotional bond with the home that can happen in those moments of magic. And so, we do want to provide free equipment, whether it's our appliances or TVs or whatever. If you're going to be selling that, we can help you get this model set up and ready to go, because we think it's so important to the buying experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think especially with so many people now using self-guided tours, how do you engage them, right? So it's great ideas to give them prompts for what to ask Alexa, and obviously Alexa's going to be in the first place, the smart home.
Yeah.
But yeah, she can point out some of those features.
We try to be flexible, right? So we try to provide the tools and allow each builder to do things in their own different way, right? Like some builders just don't love signage, right? I mean, like you don't want to have a lot of signage around. Some feel like, okay, I need to have like some signage to explain. Like, no, that's a smart light switch, not just a regular light switch. That's a smart thermostat, not just a regular thermostat. So, every builder is a little bit different. And just like I said, we provide the tools, and they're customizable, and it allows the builder to really do things the way that fits their brand. And like you were saying with lifestyle packages, we also feel the same way about that. Like we have a new energy management capability in SmartThings, and so we're putting together energy saving packages, right, that include Wi-Fi appliances that report their own energy consumption, that include energy monitoring devices. And then this helps create, you know, a very specific area of value in energy management. We also have a service for air quality management, air quality control. So we would be considering, okay, well, let's do like a health and wellness package that might include an air purifier and a robot vacuum that keeps the floors clean, and you know, our laundry that you know, disinfects your clothing when it cleans it. So that sort of thing. You know, so we kind of fitted it together into a concept, if you will.
So Bret, I know you guys do packages as well. In fact, your award-winning packages that were recognized by Tech Home Builder. So talk to us about the different options you have, because again, I think we want to be clear that when it comes to finishes, typically packages and cosmetic finishes, right? We want to talk about the countertops, the cabinets. We don't love the idea of packages there because, again, you want to offer consumers that personalization option and have them choose a la carte. But I think when it comes to technology, it makes sense just because it is confusing. And again, especially if you offer those packages around lifestyle, green home, energy efficiency, healthy home, whatever that may be. So, Bret, take us through how you think about creating those packages. And
I think the packages were, when we started doing that, I guess maybe 5 years ago, the builders loved the concept. It was our integrators who were hesitant because they're just so used to presenting, you know, product and focusing on product and line item product, and so our challenge has been getting our integrators who install our products to get on the same page with us and the builder. But we managed to get them there, and we continue to evolve as integrators do. But yeah, it has to start with something, and that's why the standard is the something that establishes the platform in the home. Whether that's just a single panel or a whole control platform, but anything, you have to have that control platform. And once that's there, then the standard can be whatever you want. We recommend a standard has the most compelling things that entice buyers, and a video doorbell is the most requested consumer smart home device, you know, in the market, followed by the smart thermostat. So if you include that as your standard, then you have a pretty cool technology story. But then, yeah, the packages, these are kind of security-based packages. And again, you see imagery of lifestyle benefits, and in the narrative there, it talks about the lifestyle. Some people are more about entertainment, so we can provide those type of packages as well. Some that we're showing here is Water Warden, which is a water leak detection. We're working with Morman on a new thing with their flow device. Also Brown New Tone with our indoor air quality. So we have strategic partnerships with some of our packages as well. I think you saw Sonos there as well. So yeah, that helps as well when we can strategically partner with another manufacturer who is also in the builder space, and we can work together.
Mm-hmm. And Steve, thinking beyond the physical packages, I know you also offer some additional service packages on top of that. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, just the service side of it is interesting because of the new energy service that we provide, and I think the idea behind services is just to show particular areas of value, and that allows you to sell things that you might not sell, but they really grab people's attention. And I think it's a way to leverage your brand and what you're trying to talk about by talking about a specific area of value. So in the case of a green builder or somebody who's building a really high performance home out there, you can add a lot of insulation and you can change this and that to the physical structure of the home, but you can't change user behavior. And that's our area, is where we can automate that for the end user, so they don't have to think about if they're saving energy. It just happens automatically. And so that provides a way for you to encapsulate that value in one particular area. And then create an opportunity to sell more packages. Because you've been able to focus and get them their attention and really show them in a particular area that you can make their life easier, better, more affordable.
All right, great. So as we're wrapping up this session, let's talk a little bit about some of the best practices. So I know, Gena, you use a a review process, annual review process, to go through all of your offerings, and I know Envision is a big part of that, to see what the take rates are, what do you keep, what new products you're offering. So can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. I talked a little bit about our internal process, but at the end of the day, I think my message to you is, whether you're a custom builder or a production builder, selecting products and then finding a way to inform the customer of the value of those products that you're offering. And like I said, whether you're custom and you're letting the customer go out into the marketplace and buy, there's some key concepts around your construction, or potentially other things, trends that you're seeing in the market that you can serve up to your customer, right? So that they can kind of imagine what it is that they're looking for. But in our case, our annual review process, and then we have an internal system that we use to track our trends. It's real time. I know it sold in the studio yesterday, although Envision has some amazing reporting that we're starting to leverage. And then just keeping on top of things in a fast changing environment. At the end of the day, it is physical and digital. I don't ever expect that I'm going to close my studios and I'm going to rely 100% on digital. I think that there is a combination. What that combination looks like, there's a million things going through my mind. Maybe it's a truck that pulls up to a customer's house and has the samples in it. Maybe it's a box that ships to the customer's house. Maybe it's an experience center where things that are hard to explain to a customer, like tech, right, and digital, it becomes more of that. I don't know what that looks like 5-10 years from now. I know that I am augmenting my studios now to support the digital experience, and knowing that 73% of my customers are 100% preparing for that customer experience before they ever step foot into my design studio. They understand that at KB Home, you buy a home, you create a wish list, you go online, you educate yourself, you put your things in your box, you cross shop, you understand pricing, you're educated, and when you come to the studio, you're no longer overwhelmed. It is now an enjoyable process where you get to take your shoes off and put your feet in the carpet and see that beautiful grain in that quartz or granite, and maybe just pick the, fine-tune those little things that were hard to see digitally, because digital is still evolving, let's face it. There are some things that are a little easier than not. And then just having that human touch all the way along the way. And like I said, I don't expect it to ever completely replace the brick and mortar. But it's about serving up that customer's experience so they're educated. As I mentioned, changes in the field are tough, especially at the rate we're moving in. And if that customer is more confident in their buying decisions, there's less of that, and you're able to deliver that home on time. So that's kind of where we're at there.
Yeah, so I think I've been hearing that most people who use some sort of a digital option, online shopping experience spend about an average of 8 hours before they meet with that designer. And I mean, for you builders, I mean, designers are not cheap, right? So you figure it's 8 hours with the designer or 8 hours spent online on their own time, and then that design time is cut back substantially.
Yeah, because you're going to have customers that really just want the digital experience, and then they want a professional to validate what they've selected, right? And then you have other customers that want both from the very beginning. So the digital and the physical space, to me, is the perfect combination. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Gena, you mentioned that obviously everything is changing so fast, and one of the sessions we had was, how do you really keep track of trends and what's happening? And I think as much as physical options change, it's even faster with smart home technology. So Steve, I know when you and I had spoken, you mentioned some of the things that builders can keep an eye out for that will actually make smart technology easier, because they're going to all talk to each other once that happens. So what is it that we can all keep our ears out for when we hear that word.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of the panel, you know, a lot of times we have to act as consultants. And part of the reason we need to act as consultants is because it is confusing. Does this work with SmartThings? Is the most common question I get. Oh, we have a Honeywell thermostat, or we have an Ecobee, or we have a Nest. Does that work? Yes, it does. Well, we have this garage door opener. We have this. Does that work? Yes, it does. But you know, not everybody is SmartThings and integrates with like over 5,000 devices. And the reality is that builders have for a long time thought, oh, am I picking a winner or a loser? Am I making a choice that could come back to me? And it could be difficult. And that's because of the fragmentation that we've seen. So the Matter standard is a standard for communication between devices that has been developed by some of the leading providers in the industry, like Samsung, right? Amazon, Google, all of the big names. And the whole point of it is so that these devices can interact with each other in a way that makes it easier for you. You just simply buy the devices, buy something to control those devices, like a hub or like a SmartThings hub. And if it's Matter compatible, it should just work. And so that I think will make everybody's life a lot easier. And you know, it'll force companies like Samsung to, instead of focusing on the interoperability, to focus actually on the application itself or on the hardware, on ways of making it even better, the experience even better. So I think it's going to be better for everybody to kind of take that one factor out of the market that's kind of caused a lot of strain and confusion over the years. And so, you know, we're on the board and we're directing the effort on our end of it, and we're excited about what's to come with the standard.
So when is this Matter standard supposed to come out so our builders can jump on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a rolling target here. There's a lot of players involved. They're having to come to an agreement on a lot of these things. So you're going to start to see vendors roll out Matter-compatible devices this year, toward the end of the year. And some have already started to move in that direction, yeah.
Okay, so remember, Matter compatible, right? That's going to make all of our lives a lot easier and hopefully eliminate a lot of this confusion. Now, as we are wrapping up the session, we have a couple of minutes for some of the questions from the audience. So anybody has any questions on any of the material that we've covered so far? I know it's been a lot. Once again, we nailed it, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else? So I think, again, as a takeaway from this session is the importance of working with manufacturers, working with your suppliers. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All of this is already available to you, and it's just a matter of taking it and having your products represented online so that your customers have an option to engage with that ahead of time before coming into your model home and really making your model home worthy of visiting. And that starts online. So thank you all so much for being with us in the last 3 days. I appreciate your time.